Well, Graham, welcome to the club. Settling in, busy, the last 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, it's we sort of got the deal done on late Friday night, but then everyone disappeared for the bank holiday weekend, so it was frustrating for me because I wanted to get straight back into it, but obviously everyone else has been working extremely hard since the end of the season. Then we came in yesterday and sort of got down to business really, and looking at everything, planning the pre-season, recruitment, the current squad we've got, and it's great because I'm desperate to get going and got all the energy and the will to get started. So no, we're fully into it now.
One of those weird situations where you have got a bit of time now. The players aren't here, and it'll be very quiet around the place. All you want to do is get stuck in.
Yeah, but I know there's a lot of work to plan for and prepare. So I've joined clubs mid-season. Before when one day from the next game, and that's quite hectic. So to have a little period of planning and preparing is quite beneficial, I feel, and because we want to make the right decisions, what we've got to do over the squad, and if you haven't got the pressure of a upcoming game to focus on as well, I think it gives you a bit of time to make the right decisions. So it's good. It gives me the time to get to know people behind the scenes before we go back into work. So there's still some staff members I've not spoke to or communicated with at the moment, seen them, so I'll get to do that over the next week. Spoke to a couple of players, but hopefully by the time we come around for pre-season, I've spoke to everyone. So I'm going to use this time because it's valuable time.
You find the club in a difficult place, Graham, in all honesty. It's in a difficult position at the moment after being relegated. How do you turn things around?
Well, it was a difficult position while the season was ongoing. I don't think it's in a difficult position now because we're all starting on 0 points from day one. So it's a fresh start. That's how I see it. It's I've never been a guy who looks to the past and sort of woe is me. I know I haven't been here, but there'll be nothing about that. It's about the future. That's why I'm here. That's why Chris is here. That's what when we reconvene for the start of pre-season, it's only about what we've got in front of us. But listen, there's no point in not sort of looking at what went on beyond to because there's a lot of the squad still here. So I have to sort of get my knowledge a little bit from the past. But honestly, it's a fresh start for everyone. It's a new manager. It'll be a new team, as in how we set up and stuff like that. So. Everyone, when we come back in for day one, it's about what we're going to do over the next 10 months, not what's happened in the past.
And what do you feel is the short-term priority? I mean, it's very early. But, it's very early in the day. I understand that question. It's like there's a lot to do. But what's the priority first and foremost?
The priority at the moment is to get the right players in. I think we've got really good players already in the squad, without a shadow of a doubt. So, do we have players here who can help us be successful next season? Definitely. Do we need to add to that? 100%. So, for us, the recruitment side of it is right now. For the next, I say 3 or 4 weeks, because that's before the players come in, but that will be ongoing in pre-season as well. Using all the time we can to get the best quality. I'm not concerned that we don't get our squad complete before first day of pre-season. It's just important that we get the right people in, and if that takes a bit of time, then it takes a bit of time. But one thing, once we get down to the work, is giving the team, the squad, an identity of what we want to achieve, what we want to do, how we want to do it. And the first target is win the first game. It's you can't do anything. If you're climbing a mountain, you have to take the first step, and the first step is winning the first game. So that we obviously know what our long-term ambition is, but you got to set short-term targets to be able to hit and measure that progression. And that's the biggest thing in football is win the next game. And if you do that often enough, you get to where you want to be.
It's interesting when we ask questions about aims for the season, because it's probably very obvious. Promotion, that's the aim. There's no mucking around. There's no getting to the playoffs. Automatic promotion is the aim for this season, isn't it?
Success is the target. However we achieve that success, I don't know yet. But we understand we're here for a specific job. the club is at a level that it expects not to be at, but you have to earn that by what you do on the pitch. It doesn't matter about what you've got off the, behind the scenes or off that green stuff. You have to do things right on the pitch, but there's a lot of support that has to be right around the players and around what we do on the pitch. But I'm quite clear in previous jobs is about getting success on the pitch, and we know what we're here to do. We hopefully will create a squad that will help us manage that. But there's loads of hurdles along the way. It's so tough. We've done it before as a management staff, winning promotion, having success, different success. Taking Motherwell to European qualifications. So it's different levels or different sort of end targets. But there's a lot of good clubs in League Two. A lot of ambitious clubs in League Two. We are one of those. But you see this season, League Two especially, I think everyone has hopes and ambitions of being successful. I mean, every club that's in that division. So you have to earn it. And one thing we've always done is make players aware and staff aware of is how much work you put in. You can't rely on anything else.
You talked a little bit about the players that you've maybe a couple of the players you've spoken to. There are a list of players that, of course, their contracts run out. Is that one of something that you're dealing with? Players like Tenai Watson, Soleil Kai, Josh Mack, Michael Johnson. Is that something you're working on as well?
Yeah, it's one of them. I watched quite a few MK Dons games for the last few months. I didn't go too far in depth, and I've looked at a lot of information behind the scenes, not just seeing what a player can do in a game. It's how fit they are, how resilient they are, their character, their personality, everything we look into when we want to create a winning squad. And so there are conversations that we've had with certain players that are out of contract that we feel can be successful going forward. But also feel there's a need for new blood, for fresh faces to reinvigorate everybody going into the new season. I think it's always good to sort of break up the status quo in the squad and bring in a new challenge for people. So they're unsure where they stand in the sort of pyramid, so to speak, in the squad, because we don't really believe in that. We believe in a merit-based, sort of squad, and everyone's competing for those spots. I think it's good to bring in new players that will freshen that challenge up for everybody. But like I said, there's good players already here. There's good players that were here and are out of contract we're trying to re-engage with. But I think it's way too early in the process to actually talk about individuals at this stage.
You come in as a head coach, and I don't know, have you done a head coach role before? Have you always been a manager?
I think it's the same.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, this question might be obsolete. It might not be a necessary question, but I wonder whether people do get maybe caught up on that a little bit too much. Whether your role as head coach is any different to a manager?
No, I think they do. I think when I spoke to them about the job, the role, I said you can call me head coach, manager, whatever you want. My job's going to be the same. I'm going to be picking the team, training the team, trying to sign the best players. But even when I've been called manager, it's always been a collaborative sort of system that I've worked in. I've always spoke with the CEO, sporting director, chairman, whoever it is, that are stakeholders at the club that are involved in that. I've always worked alongside people, even if I have been, what people would say the old school manager. It's been different at all the clubs that I've managed with, even though I've had the same job title. So coming into this one, I wasn't fussed. Honestly, I wasn't fussed. I just wanted the role. So I was quite clear about coming in and working with different people. That's the way the game is now. I think it actually helps managers if it's the right people that you work with, and you have a clear identity of how you work. Because there's so much responsibility on the manager's shoulders, head coach's shoulders, about all the things you have to deal with. You can't do it on your own. So trying to be the big I am and say no, it's just down to me, it doesn't work. So I wouldn't read anything into that.
No, it's a bit old-fashioned, isn't it? I think sometimes to think that just the manager does everything, makes every decision. It's a little bit old-fashioned.
It is, and even if it was laid on me that you're in charge of everything, I'd still be working with people and collaborating with people and trying to get them to help me and support me. So nothing really changes from that perspective, from my side anyway.
when you look around this place, it's a club, and I think one of the lines you used was, you know, obviously the infrastructure around where they are in the leagues, it doesn't necessarily match that. And there's obviously this dream. There's obviously a dream at MK Dons to climb the leagues, and that's, I suppose that's the pull for you, isn't it? You're at a football club that has real ambition, that wants to push forward, that wants to make it to the Championship, and that's it. I mean, I know the club's in League 2 at the moment, and League 1 is the aim, but that has to be a long-term aim, and that is it, the Championship.
Yeah, well, look, it's been documented before this stage, you know, before my time, that, you know, where the club eventually sees itself at a certain point, and I don't know if there was a time scale to that, and it's still a relatively new club in the whole scheme of things, and it's incredibly difficult to get success and get continued success in certainly in England. I think England is so unique. You know, you saw the amount of support and crowds at the playoff finals, and everyone kept on talking about, you know, where else do you get this in the world? You know, down the levels, the third division, the fourth division. You know, 50, 60, 70,000. It's so competitive in England. So you have to earn your stripes. You know, and you have to take the knocks, and you have to pick yourself up again. And you know, I had a long career as a player, and if you just took out the highlights, you think, oh, what a great career that was. But there was a lot of sliding back down the ladder, you know, and kicking the what's-its along the way. You know, so you have to overcome all those challenges, and I think the club has had that in the last 12 months. You know, a setback. But I don't think you can ever take your eye off where you eventually want to get to. But if you're not resilient and you can't take those setbacks and come back from them, then you're not going to get there anyway, or you're not going to stay there. So everyone has to learn how to be resilient to setbacks, to adversity, and overcome them. And eventually you look back when you get to the end, like I did when I finished playing at 40. I looked back then, I felt actually did well in the end, but at times I was like, where am I going? It's just a struggle, this, that, the other. So you've got to keep your eye on the end, but without, it's like what we're talking about this season. The end target is there, but we have to focus on winning the first game. So the club has long-term ambitions and targets, but we have to be successful at this division. So I'm only going to talk about this year, right now, and what we have to try and achieve this season. But you can see obviously the setup, the stadium, what they've got around it is built for a high level. You know, there's no point in avoiding that. It shows an ambition. But there's a lot more that goes into winning football matches consistently and being successful. So hopefully we can get that right this season, and then let's look at the longer target as we go along.
Yeah, I'm not rushing you. I promise.
It didn't sound like it. So talking about no, but listen, it's good. You know, when I was a fourth division player, when I was 19, 20, 21, I knew eventually I had a long-term target. But talking about that when I was a 22-year-old, you know, scrapping away at Scunthorpe, would have been a bit false. You know, it took me a while to get where I wanted to get, to the Premier League, to international football. Yeah. So I didn't talk about those things. I had them inside me. I just worked day in, day out to make those, you know, small steps for the big goal, and that's what we have to do now. We have to make small steps for the end goal.
And the bottom line is, finally for me, the bottom line is the fans obviously have had a tough time and they're fed up and they're cheesed off, but win football matches in League 2 and it starts turning around very, very quickly. Yeah,
it's one thing I've learned over my 30 odd years in the game, that winning sort of makes everybody happy. It makes me happy. Believe me, it's, you know, there's a lot of things that go around the game of football, but if anything that's taught me about longevity and success, it's about winning games. You know, that's what it is, and that's what we're here to do. We've, you know, managed to do enough of in the last 10 years as a management staff, and you know, we want to continue that run here. I feel we've got a great opportunity because there's a lot of good things here. Everything needs bringing together and focused in what we need to do, and everyone needs to be together. That's a big thing that we insist upon. No one person is bigger than the group, and we need everyone. We need the supporters, the staff, you guys, to help us win games. We can't do it as individuals, so a lot of work, and we have to bring it all together. But we've got the time, we've got the will, we've got the people, so there's a lot of good ingredients there to make it happen.
With regards to your current squad, obviously, some are on holiday, some are
Yes.
spread all over the country.
Yep.
What's your process now? Is it something do you ring them up? Do you call them in to say, come spend the morning with us or have an hour of a chat? Or what's your process?
Yeah, I'm fully aware of players and staff being on holiday, and I don't want to break into that because it's right for me. I've been on holiday for the last 8 or 9 months. You know what I mean? So I'm raring to go. I'm energised and ready. But there's a lot of guys that have that have put a lot of work into a long season, and I really believe in it's good to have that downtime. So I've travelled to meet a couple of players. I've spoke to a couple of players on the phone. I won't be calling people from here, there, and everywhere to come into here. I don't think it's right. But I will communicate with everybody before we get back. I think there's a lot of local staff, so I'll get to meet them personally to sort of the board who I've spoke to, the chairman and sporting director. They know how I want to work, but the staff don't at the moment. So there's a lot of planning to go into before we start, and I want to understand how they've worked as well, because it's not a case of turning everything upside down and saying this is how we work. Because I've worked in different clubs with different people, different setups. So it's important that we have how we work, but we mould it into how this club sort of goes about its business. So, but to do that, I have to sit down with people. So I'll meet everyone before we get back, but I'm fully aware of, and not just saying, right, come and see me now. I'll make the effort to go and see people as well.
Obviously, Dons has sort of prided itself on having a certain particular style of football and a way of playing. How does that fit into your, I suppose, approach to them?
My approach is quite clear, really, but it's not a one-way approach. I've been adaptable, and I said this in the interview process that I talked about what I've done with clubs, and when I've gone into a club at different levels, at different stages, I've always assessed the squad, the players. I've had an idea of how I wanted to play, but I haven't died by that philosophy. It's if I have to adapt a little bit to the quality of the players, to the level we're at, what's needed to win, then I've made those adaptations and changed to win. So that's if you wanted to pin me down to a certain specific formation, style of play, I'd be lying if I said this is how we do it and this will stick by it. I have an idea of when we go in and work with it, but you have to adapt. You have to adapt. A season is a long time. You might not have your best players available all that time. Different opponents, conditions of the pitches. I've took over teams that are at the top end of the league. I've took over teams at the bottom of the league. So there's different conditions you work with there. Players are confident, players are not confident. It's about getting the best out of a group of players. It's the players that go on to a pitch and win a game for football. It's not a manager. It's not a coach or a head coach. It's players, and that's not going to change. So I'll try to create the best framework for those to work in. And if players are better on the ball, or better athletically, more height, whatever it is, we play a system that suits those players. So I want to play good football. I want to play attack. One thing I would say that's across the board with all my teams, we've always scored goals. We've always attacked teams. I've never, whatever formation we played, whatever level, we've never sat back and just defend and ground games out. We've always had a front foot mentality, an attacking mentality, score goals. I know that's what, I believe that's what supporters want to see. It's what I want to see. It's how I wanted to play. So that aspect won't change.
In terms of, we've covered it exhaustively over the last 12 months of the things that MK Dons got wrong last season. Been in the building a few days now. What do you see that's right about the club at the moment?
A mentality of ambition and aspiration of winning. I think, like I said, there's some players in there that 100%, and I'm not saying some, most of those players that are still contracted can have a part to play next season in creating a successful team. There's still a few of them from the season before that really went close to the championship, so that tells you there's good quality. It's about aligning and realigning everyone and focusing them on the objective, and we're a positive mindset we always deal with in a positive way. I don't go for negativity. I don't like it. I think it's draining. I think it's de-energizing. So I think we look for that. But I think there obviously was. You don't get relegated for no reason, and it's not luck over 46 games. So I wouldn't say I've looked deep into what was wrong, because I think time away will fix these things. We want to say, right, this is how we work, this is what we want to do right, let's focus on that. So I don't want to say, oh, you did this wrong, let's do this. It's gone. It's dead. I've analysed what I need to analyse, but I haven't gone in depth, because even when I've gone in at previous clubs and I've known the manager, I've never gone to that manager and said, right, what's he like? I want to go in with fresh eyes, because it gives everyone a fresh start. I don't want to go in with preconceived negativity or ideas that might hamper us going forward. I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, the opportunity to go again and prove what they are as individuals. So I think there's a lot of positives here to focus on, and if anything I've done in my life is focus on the positives, and I ain't going to change now.
Obviously you've brought in Chris Luchetti as your assistant. Yeah. He's been with you at every club that you've managed or coached.
Yeah.
Talk about him and the relationship you have with him and what he brings to the table.
Yeah, Chris came to Preston North End when I was a player there, and we played next to each other for 6 years. Pretty much week in, week out, similar ages, similar sort of trajectory in our careers, where we started at the bottom level for a long time, Scunthorpe, Halifax, Rochdale, and fought our way up to, we both made our Premier League debuts. I think he was 35 and I was 37 at different clubs, but resilient buggers. We sort of we had to come up the hard way. And earn our stripes, but and we weren't best mates at Preston. We didn't go out for pints together or anything like that. We weren't in the same sort of, that sort of thing. But we had a massive mutual respect for each other as professionals and as teammates. We were both sort of leaders of the group. But he was the captain. I still call him Skip now, but now I know Dean's Skip as well, so everyone calls him. So I might get confused with that in the first couple of weeks, But no, we started together in the academy at Preston. He was already there as under 16s coach, and I just retired and took over the academy. So when I had my first opportunity as a manager, I wanted to take him with me, because I trust him with life. He knows the game inside. I know how resilient he's been over his career. It's sort of, but one thing he does do, he's brutally honest with me. If I ask him a question, he doesn't care about my feelings or what's politically right here. He'll say what it is, and we disagree, but we trust each other that implicitly, that we know where it's coming from. It's from us to be better and to create winning teams, and that's the thing. He went away to manage for a little period because I knew he had ambitions. I had no problem with that. We discussed that right at the start of our career, that we both wanted to be managers. If the opportunity comes up for him, then just tell me about it and I'll support you. He went away, it didn't work out for him, but as soon as I could get him back with me, I brought him back with me, because I know how well we work together. But what he is, he can, I can't be everywhere at the same time, because I'm, as the lead guy, I get pulled from all over the place, and I've got a lot of responsibility, but I know I can leave anything in his hands, and it's done exactly how we want it to be done. And he's great at bringing everyone together, the staff, the players. He's a real good conduit for me and for those people. Deals with things that I probably don't need to deal with, but they need to be dealt with. So it's we have a great working relationship. Listen, we've become friends over this last 10 years, but it's based on our professional respect for each other. So I'm really looking forward to it. He's super excited about this as well. It's something that we've sort of looked at and really wanted to go for, because we feel there's a great opportunity to be successful here.
Obviously your first ever foray into management came against the Dons.
Yes.
How does it feel coming to the club where it all started, really?
Yeah, it was really strange quirk of fate, that really. I was a player at the time. I was injured, but got asked to take the team for a couple of games. And 2 days later, we were playing MK Dons here, live on Sky. I think it was December, and they hadn't been beat at home, so they had a brilliant home record, but we came and spoiled it and won 1-0. So, but from that moment, that was it. I was fully prepared. I was fully qualified to I was just finishing my pro license at that time, so I knew where I was I wanted to go into coaching. I was looking at possibly the summer and maybe playing on for another year. I was like that, but that night I was like, no, I want to do this sort of now. I want to go into coaching. It was like, actually, I'm right. I feel right to leave the playing behind. I think I played another 8 minutes after that night. A new manager came in, but I went into coaching behind the scenes, and I played 8 minutes on the last day of the season. And that was it. But this sort of that experience, it was a great experience. To feel the winning feeling, the preparation before it, the nerves going into the game and sort of like that, and sort of winning against the odds was brilliant. And I don't regret it for a second. Retiring and going into that at that stage, I was it was a great start for me. And I've sort of MK Dons is a sort of team I've sort of looked at. I've lived in Milton Keynes when I played for Preston for 4 years. All 3 children were born in Milton Keynes, back in the 90s. So it's do you know what I mean? They were so excited when I got it. So I couldn't tell them that I was speaking to them, going to the interviews and stuff, because I didn't want to disappoint them if I didn't get it. So when I was calling them to say where I'd been and successfully getting the job, they were so excited about it. So it's great, but I've got to justify all that now by winning here again. And that's the thing. So no, but it's great. It's great for me personally, because I think it's a great professional opportunity. But on a personal level, it's great for our family, because we've got a lot of ties with the city.
One person that is synonymous with Milton Keynes football is, of course, Dean Lewington. How important is he, both on and off the pitch, to helping you settle in and get to know the squad and things like that? Yeah,
well, listen, the importance of Dean is on the pitch first and foremost. Met him this morning. Went down, like I said, went down, and I spoke to him last week on the phone, but then I drove down this morning to meet for a coffee for an hour or so, and just get his thoughts on the team, the club, the sort of thing. Without going, I don't want to put too much on him because he's a player. But I wanted to get his thoughts on that, because I've been there. Him, 38, 39. Played a lot of games, this, that, the other, and I think it's quite a unique sort of position at that stage. Not many people get to that stage and play, so I'm probably one of the only sort of people around that actually has been there. So I sort of, but I can't. I didn't want to just guess it, or make an assumption of how he's thinking. I wanted to actually get his thoughts on him personally. What his ambitions are and going forward. But listen, we rely on senior players at any club to sort of lead the group. We believe in that. It's not just us, dictating to everything. It's a collaborative approach that we have with the squad of players. But I wanted to look into his eyes and see where he saw himself. Because you can get asked that, are you drifting towards coaching, this, that, the other? And I found that a really difficult situation for me to be in, because I was so focused on playing at that age. And I think he's in the same boat. I think he wants to bring success to the team, but by being on the pitch. But the same as at every club I've managed, and with every player that I've managed, they have to earn the spot in the team. It's new signings, star signings, number 9, whatever it is. I'll run it on a merit-based sort of system that the best trainers, the best players, the ones who do it, they're the ones that play. And but Dean's well aware that you don't get to play the amount of games he's played without having a fierce competitive streak, in training and games to be able to compete and overcome your challenges. Because I'm sure over the last 10 years he's had loads of challenges to his spot, and similar to me, I had to do that, and you have to constantly prove yourself. But I think that adds something to you as a professional, that you constantly under challenges. And if you overcome them, then that shows that you're proving your worth. But he's a good guy, and look forward to working with him.
Just a couple of quick ones from me, Graham, then we'll let you go. There'll be a few players in your squad who, perhaps when they signed for the club, maybe weren't expecting to be in League Two this season. Are you confident that if some of your senior players, I won't name them because I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but if offers come in, are you confident that despite the club being in League Two, that the project is still appealing enough that that they'll want to be involved?
Yeah, look, it's. I think every club outside probably Man City is a selling club. You know what I mean? That's the reality of professional football. But we've got ambitions here, and we're not looking to sell anybody. That's the reality. I'm going to speak to those individuals, all of the individuals before we get back. But I'm not going to speak about possible exit routes and stuff like this. We want everybody. I think the club committed to players committed to the club. I think everybody has to feel a little bit of responsibility about where the club is right now, and make sure it goes right. Listen, I don't think if you can speak to any player in the world, I don't think I want to play in League Two. Everyone got to have ambitions to play at the top level, the highest they can. That's the reality. But let's try and get every player wants to play in a winning team. I know that at whatever level. I'll be winning at the top of one division, scrapping away at another division. So for me, it's an open book for everyone. When I do speak to those guys, if they want to communicate anything to me that is different to what I see fit, I always give people the option, because I know I've been there as a player, that you've got a career to protect and look after. But we're certainly not looking to sell anybody, certainly not our best players. That'll only happen if, like it happens at every other club, if money comes in or offers come in, that you've got no choice. But if we've got a choice, we want to keep people there.
And just finally, you've got loads of football experience, as we've mentioned, but Milton Keynes Dons is a unique club, it's a unique place. I know you've already touched on it, but what appealed about MK Dons specifically and Milton Keynes as a city?
Yeah, well, I like I said, I think I'm an ambitious guy. I think my sort of career as a player was a slow burner, so to speak. I wanted to be successful straight away, but I had to fight and earn my stripes through the way. I see the same with this club. I see a similar identity. I think I'm got ambitions of managing at a high level, because I feel I've got the qualities to get there. But I also understand from my playing career that you have to have a lot of resilience and work extremely hard to get where you want to be, and it might not happen overnight. And I think that's where this club is. It hasn't happened overnight. There's been periods where they've got to the championship and come away. So that sustainability at that level is extremely hard to come by, and there's a lot of work that has to go into it. But you have to make small steps as you go along. So I saw an opportunity at a club where I do have a personal affection for, because of my family history with my children and living here. But I wouldn't have wanted this job so much if professionally it wasn't an opportunity to be successful. That's I've always made a pretty clear distinction between my career and my personal life, and sometimes I've put my career first and foremost, and thank God my wife forgives me for that over the long time we've been together. But this is a real. It is a unique club. It's a unique club, and it has to fight against a lot of detractors. But I quite like that about it, because I've had a similar sort of history as a player and as a manager, and I think for anything worthwhile in life you have to fight, and that's one thing we'll do as a club and as a manager.